everyone's screaming about Abu. They speak as if Abu was something that just happened, something that an idea that just was, just cropped up or was just created. Actually, Abu is very old. Now, Abu was something that, as I said, Hishamuddin Rais coined, and I would say it's very clever marketing, strategy, which Hishamuddin coined way back in 2006, I think it was. And asalkan, bukan UMNO, ABU. Then, at that time, 2006, Mahathir was attacking UMNO, not just Abdullah Badawi, UMNO. If you remember, Mahathir was lamenting about how he's being denied media access, how the mainstream media has been instructed to black out everything, all stories on Mahathir, news on Mahathir to be blacked out. And there were a few charamas where Mahathir was invited. UMNO charamas or events where Mahathir was invited. And the organizers were sent a letter by the UMNO headquarters telling them to uninvite Mahathir. So Mahathir actually received letters from these UMNO branches, UMNO divisions, telling him that they are withdrawing the invitation. So Mahathir was actually being sidelined by UMNO, not just Abdullah Badawi, but a few people, because the Prime Minister, one man alone, cannot do it. It's got to be the whole organization that's involved. And there were, even the police were involved. There were cases where events where Mahathir was called, the police turned up, for the first time, I went to Alostar, Kubang Pasu to be exact. And it was an UMNO division meeting, okay? Just an UMNO division. They were having party elections, electing the division leaders and all that. And there were like 6 FRU trucks, riot police trucks outside. And I remember my wife, joking, say, this is the first time I've seen an UMNO meeting where they got 6 riot police trucks waiting outside. They were expecting trouble. And of course, Mahathir was quite upset. Mahathir came up with the Melayu Muda Lupa, and in Alostar, that the Wakil Rakyat Association and Pekida was also involved, where they organized a seminar like Kenang Jasa, remembering Mahathir's contribution and stuff like that. Mahathir did say during the PC, the press conference after that event, when he was asked, the whole media was there, mainstream media, opposition media. I was there. All these events I'm talking about, I was there personally. And Mahathir said, Malaysia is a police state. Now, that came from Mahathir, okay? Malaysia is a police state. There is no freedom of speech in Malaysia. Malaysia does not respect independent media. And I went like, wow, this is coming from Mahathir, okay? And the press asked him, this was back in 2006, 6 years ago, the press asked him, you seem to be sidelined by UMNO. UMNO is now treating you as sort of public enemy number 1 and this and that. And Mahathir's reply was, we should not vote for UMNO. Then one of the press guys asked, then who do we vote for? Vote for anyone but UMNO. That's when we came out with the ABU, anything but UMNO, which dovetail with asalkan bukan UMNO, which was coined by Hishamuddin Rais. So, in a way, Mahathir was the initiator, I would say, not from the opposition, but from the other side, who came up with the anything but UMNO thing. So we were then going around during the 2000 election. I was giving talks all over the place, Selangor, Penang, everywhere. And how did I close my speeches, my drama? I mean, they're all on YouTube. All you need to do is to go to YouTube, do a search, Raja Petra, RPK, general elections 208, whatever, and you'll find all these videos, tons of videos of my charamas all over the country. And how How did I end? I ended with Abu, anything but UMNO. Makal Sakti, people's power, kuasa, suara rakyat, suara keramat. These were the issues we were in every ceramah in 2008. I was banging away, shouting, screaming, Abu, Makal Sakti, people's power, suara rakyat, suara keramat, the people's voice is sacred, to translate into English. So, this was our battle cry way back in 2008. But in 2000, we were very clear. We wanted UMNO out. And during my ceramahs in Klang, for instance, in Pandamaran, in the Kampong, Port Klang, where I gave a ceramah in a Chinese temple, I said that when we reject UMNO, we have to reject everything that comes with UMNO. We are not just rejecting UMNO, but we are rejecting the entire institution of UMNO, the entire culture of UMNO. If we vote for MCA, we are voting for UMNO. If we vote for MIC, Gerakan, PPP, anybody, we are voting for UMNO. So to reject UMNO, you have to reject the entire Barisan Nasional, not just UMNO. And the UMNO culture which comes with it. In the police is UMNO culture. In the government, in the military, everywhere you look in Malaysia, 1.4 million or thereabouts government servants, civil servants, including the military, security services and all, it's all UMNO culture. In 2008, we almost did it. In fact, for any standards, it was quite an achievement for the opposition to have gained 82 seats in 5 states, even though they lost back 1 state later. But it's certainly an achievement. But that's not good enough. Why? Because the UMNO culture is still there. Election Commission, SPR, is still UMNO culture. We had a meeting with SPR. This was back in the year 2000, yeah? I'm talking about 12 years ago. And it's still the same today. So it's not something new. 12 years ago, some of you were still at school. Some of you were not even yet involved in politics, But 12 years ago, in the year 2000, we met the SPR. Azmin Ali was there. Mustafa Ali was there. Datuk Hishamuddin Yahya was there. DAP also came. I can't quite remember who from DAP came. Everybody was there. PRM was there. PRM was not yet part of PKR. It was still PKN, PRM, 2 separate parties. And what were the issues we raised? Okay, we talked about Bersih today and the list of reforms, but 2000 there was no Bersih, but we already raised these issues which Bersih is raising today. And we told them number one on our list is postal votes. We know with postal votes, Barisan will forever run the country. Unless we can abolish the postal vote system, there's no way Pakatan is going to form the next government. That's the number one enemy we have to attack, postal votes. You know what SPR replied? And this is in a meeting, okay? Official meeting, yeah? Recorded, okay? SPR said, if we eliminate postal votes, not a single minister will be able to retain his or her seat. We were flabbergasted. I mean, it is downright dishonest, but at least they're honest about their dishonesty. They admit that the postal vote system is to ensure that no ministers lose power. And it's true, because in 99, just what, a couple of months before that, Najib lost the Pekan seat. He lost the Pekan seat, if I'm not mistaken, by 1,800 votes. When the results were counted, the votes were counted, and the unofficial results came in, he went home. And then they transferred 2,000 postal votes to his seat. And then he won 200. He won by 200. And he was called back to the nomination center. He thought he already finished. But he was called back, and from a loss of 1/8, it became a win of 200. By transferring 2,000 postal votes later, after the votes were counted. Everybody, the whole world, in fact, knows Najib lost the 99 elections. But the official results, he won because of postal votes. So what SPR said is true. Without postal votes, even the Prime Minister, not the present Prime Minister, who was not yet the Prime Minister then, would have lost the election. And we wanted that erased. We wanted that abolished. And their reply was, without postal votes, not a single minister can retain their seat. We were flabbergasted. Our response was, look, the SPR, the Election Commission, what is its function? Isn't its function to ensure a free, fair and clean election? Isn't that what SPR is all about? To make sure that Malaysia sees a fair, clean and fair election? And in response to that, you know what the SPR said? No. Our function is to ensure that the Malays do not lose political power. And that was the second shock reply that they gave us. And we decided, end of meeting. Why the hell do we need to continue with this meeting with SPR when the first reply to our question was such and the second reply was such? Which means SPR is the 15th member of Barisan Nasional. In short, SPR is UMNO. So, to get rid of UMNO, just Abu is not enough. We have to get rid of the entire UMNO culture, which extends beyond UMNO. The SPR is never going to allow the opposition to win. And they will do all sorts of schemes and scams and cheating and fraud to make sure that Barisan does not lose. That's UMNO. The police. You look at recently, last weekend in Klang as an example, in what was that place? Kampung. Can't remember the name now. Anyhow, when those group of youth or thugs or kampung people, whoever they were, when they attacked the Abu Bersih Forum, what did the police do? They stood by. They just looked. They did nothing. And when they raised it, complained to the police said, nah, they were not thugs. They were just unhappy kampung people. Because these Indian people are coming into this kampung. You see, this kampung is 100% Malay. It's 100% Malay kampung. There's no Indians. But then these Hindraf people from outside come and disturb the Malay kampung. Of course, the kampung people not happy. Understandable. In short, very acceptable. Now, that's UMNO. Even the police is UMNO. So, everywhere you look, everything you see, you're all touched by UMNO, the UMNO culture. So, when I say Abu, I'm not just talking about Abu, the Malay political party. I'm talking about Abu, the UMNO culture that has spread throughout the country and has actually infiltrated every aspect of the country, the administration and everything. Now, if we just get rid of UMNO, but we don't get rid of the UMNO culture, do you think things are going to change? Nothing is going to change. You look at Selangor, for instance. Faika Hussein came up with a statement. Ibrahim Ali should be banned from Selangor. Look, I'm no fan of Ibrahim Ali. In fact, as I said earlier, I think Ibrahim Ali should not have been given a seat under Pakatan. But aren't we the ones who have been saying for many, many years, for 20, 30 years, we have been saying, I might disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Now, we are saying this when we criticize the government. And then we have the state government, which is still a government, but an opposition government that is now doing exactly the things we are criticizing. Why should Ibrahim Ali be banned from Selangor? Because we don't like what he says. And they're saying the same thing about Ambiga, for instance. Ambiga should be banned from Malaysia. Ambiga citizenship should be withdrawn. Why? Because she's saying things which UMNO don't like. Of course, when they hit out at Ambiga and they say that her citizenship should be withdrawn and she should be banned, and we get very angry. But we don't realize when people say things we don't like in the opposition, we are also doing the same thing. You look at ISA, we protest about the ISA. I attended one ceramah which Mak Sabu gave in the past headquarters in Gombak. And Mak Sabu very clever. He was saying, in Malay of course he spoke, when we form the next government, we're going to arrest all these barisan people under ISA and send them to Kemunting. Setuju tidak? He said, do you agree? The whole hall, I think about 1,000 people in the hall. Setuju! Agree. Mak Sabu stop. Mak Sabu said, inilah pasal. When I say, of course he was speaking in Malay. When I say, if we come to power, we'll arrest all these people under ISA, send them to, you all agree. No. You should say, don't agree. If we are against the ISA, we should also be against the ISA being used on anybody, including our enemies. Now, how can you say you disagree with the ISA being used against opposition people, but when I say we will arrest all these barisan people under ISA, you all shout agree? Cannot. I'm going to ask you again, Mak Sabu said. If we come to power, we will arrest all the barisan people under ISA. Agree or not? The whole hall said, no! Mak Sabu said, itu baru betul. That's more like it. So you see, in Mak Sabu's very simple kampung way of delivering his message, he was very effective. 90% of the people in the hall wore white caps and the women were in tudong, so they were very much, I would say, kampung, mentality. But in his own kampung way, he has delivered the message that if the ISA is wrong, it should also be wrong if we use it against our enemies. Not only wrong if used against our friends.